And what seems to be going on in the new year is that we are having the biggest scandal of all time, the biggest incredible story of all time. Nobody can quite understand why it's taken this long for everything to happen, right? It seems to be business as usual, however, in the House of Commons, as once again, Rishi Sunak faced a battering from Keir Starmer over his promises on cutting migration and the post office scandal, which is rumbling on. Sunak's making the not-so-reassuring guarantee that some of the people affected by the scandal will receive a mere £75,000 in compensation. Joining me to discuss the fallout from the first Prime Minister's questions of 2024 is TalkTV's very own chief political correspondent, Mr. Peter Cardwell. Peter, a very good evening to you. Welcome to the Independent Republican Mike Graham for the first time, I think, this year. I think I'm right in saying.
Hi, Mike. Great to be here. Yeah.
It was a reasonable tussle today. Tell us about the best bits.
Yes, indeed. It was certainly a response to a lot of the pressure that has built up over the past few days. Rishi Sunak very quickly getting out of the blocks, a planted question from Lee Anderson asking him about the post office scandal. This is what Rishi Sunak had to say.
Today, I can announce that we will introduce new primary legislation to make sure that those convicted as a result of the Horizon scandal are swiftly exonerated and compensated. We will also introduce a new upfront payment of £75,000 for the vital GLO group of postmasters. And can I thank my honourable friend, the member for Thirsk and Malton, for all his hard work on this issue. He will set out more details to the House shortly. We will make sure that the truth comes to light, we right the wrongs of the past, and the victims get the justice they deserve.
Will they get the justice they deserve?
Whether you love him or loathe him, Mike, there's decisive action there from Rishi Sunak, and there has been that at least £75,000. Hopefully that will happen. The government hopes by the end of this year, and those people will be exonerated. And of course, there'll be a lot more to come in terms of compensation and properly, fully clearing their names as time goes on.
Yeah, I mean, he has certainly taken decisive action, and it's very welcome, I'm sure, for an awful lot of people. But £75,000 to some is not very much money, and many of them are being offered possibly the chance to get £600,000 if they sign on the dotted line. Others may get even more because there could be all sorts of class action lawsuits coming. If you're a lawyer, you're going to be looking to cash in on this as well, I would imagine. So the ambulance chasers will be all over this like a rash. But what about who actually picks up the tab? Because at the end of the day, we shouldn't be doing that. It shouldn't be costing you, me, and the rest of my panel sitting here a load of money to make up for some mistakes made by a big, massive international global company like Fujitsu.
Exactly, Mike, and this is where this all goes next. There are far more questions than answers, and I think in terms of the compensation, in terms of the culpability, the Post Office, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the UK, you and I, the taxpayer, basically own the Post Office, is part of it. But of course, Fujitsu, that huge international global computer business, which has its tentacles in many parts of how the government runs IT. There are lots and lots of contracts there. Big question for Rishi Sunak and indeed Keir Starmer. Would Keir Starmer, for example, say that he won't give Fujitsu any more contracts if he became Prime Minister? Because there are billions of pounds of contracts that Fujitsu has, but how much money will it come? Also individuals as well. There's a lot there in terms of individual engineers, people who were behind the system. Some of them, one in particular, who denies any wrongdoing, wanting immunity from prosecution should he give evidence to the public inquiry. So this really is, it may seem 25 years since this started, and factually it is, but it really is just the beginning in terms of getting justice for those post office sub-postmasters and their families who've had their lives absolutely wrecked by this.
And what about Sir Ed Davey? He was due to ask a question today at PMQs, but he was mysteriously absent.
Well, that's for personal reasons, for family reasons, that he wasn't there. So he did have a legitimate excuse not to be in Parliament, but certainly his role is under the spotlight. Lots of people asking questions about when he was Postal Affairs Minister between 2010 and 2012. There have been, of course, lots of other postal ministers, but originally when Alan Bates, who's the man at the centre of all this, the campaigner, Mr. Bates versus the Post Office was the name of the ITV drama. Well, he asked Davey initially for a meeting and was told it would serve no purpose. The men did eventually meet, but certainly Ed Davey's role when he was a minister is been highlighted hugely. So he's someone who very quickly and very frequently asks for other people to resign. Now people are saying maybe he should look in the mirror, as one victim put it.
Absolutely right. Peter, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. That's Peter Cardwell, TalkTV's political editor there.